Welcome to Luminarix. Today we're diving into something both ancient and terrifying, mythical creatures. Whether you believe it or not, the stories are real, and they've haunted humans for centuries. For thousands of years, humans have passed down chilling stories about strange beasts, monsters lurking in forests, oceans, and shadows. These tales were often meant to scare children or warn travelers, but what if they weren't just stories? What if behind every legend, there's a grain of truth? Today, we uncover 7 mythical creatures that might not be myths at all. Some existed, some still might. Wait till you see number 1. It's a beast so huge, it could swallow whales whole. Number 7, Hydra. Remember the terrifying creature Hercules fought in Greek mythology? The Hydra, serpent-like, many-headed, and nearly impossible to kill. Cut off one head, and 2 grew back. Its toxic breath could kill with a single breath. Ancient Greeks were obsessed with this legend. It appeared in sculptures, pottery, even on coins. But here's the twist. A real-life Hydra exists today. It's tiny, only about the size of a grain of rice, and lives in fresh water. It uses stinging tentacles to catch prey. But the truly shocking part, it might live forever. In 2015, scientists tried everything to kill it. Every time its cells regenerated. The Hydra doesn't age like normal creatures. It could hold the key to biological immortality. So while the mythical monster isn't real, nature created something even more fascinating. A tiny creature that defies death. Number 6, vampire. We've all heard of vampires. Bloodthirsty, undead beings that avoid sunlight and hate garlic. But these aren't just Hollywood monsters. From Europe, Strigoi, to Asia, Aswan, Africa, Asan Bosam, to the Americas, El Chupacabra. Almost every culture has their own version of vampire legends. In Eastern Europe, when people got sick or died mysteriously, they often blamed the dead, literally. Villagers would dig up graves, and if a body didn't decay normally, they thought it was a vampire. Sometimes they found bodies with fresh blood in the mouth, but we now know it was just natural decomposition. Then there was Vlad the Impaler, a brutal Romanian ruler who inspired Dracula. He drank blood, yes, but he was human, not a monster. Today, there's no scientific proof that vampires exist, but there are people who call themselves real vampires. They drink small amounts of blood from willing donors for ritual, spiritual, or psychological reasons. Still, some illnesses helped fuel the fear. Porphyria, a rare blood disease, can cause sunlight sensitivity, strange behavior, and even red teeth. Rabies, often spread by bats, causes aggression and hallucinations. So, are vampires real? Not in the way movies show, but the idea of the vampire, of something lurking in the dark, feeding on fear, that has been real in human imagination for thousands of years. And maybe that's the scariest truth of all. Number 5, werewolves. For thousands of years, people have told chilling tales of humans turning into wolves, from the ancient epic of Gilgamesh to the myths of ancient Greece. But what if some of these stories weren't just fiction? One of the most terrifying real-life legends was the Beast of Gévaudan, a mysterious creature that terrorized 18th century France. Dozens were attacked, many killed. Armed wolf hunts were launched, but the creature always seemed one step ahead. Locals began to wonder, was it a giant wolf or something more sinister? Some believe it was just an unusually large predator, but others think it was something else entirely, perhaps a real-life werewolf. Science offers some eerie explanations. One possibility is hypertrichosis, a rare condition that causes excessive hair growth across the body, earning those affected the nickname wolfmen. Add rabies to the mix, a virus that causes aggression, confusion, and even fear of water, and you start to see the makings of the werewolf myth. Rabies affects the brain, drives its host to bite, and spreads through saliva. Infected animals, and sometimes people, become unpredictable, violent, and dangerous. Could these ancient werewolves have been victims of misunderstood diseases, or was something truly supernatural lurking in the shadows? Who knows? If that just blew your mind, wait till you hear number 3. And hey, if you love this kind of mystery, hit subscribe. The next one is legendary. Number 4, mermaid. Mermaid is one of the most enchanting and misunderstood creatures of legend. The mermaid, also known as the siren. Most of us think of the fairy tale version, a graceful woman with a shimmering fishtail, singing songs of love while perched on a rock. But the original legends, they weren't so romantic. In ancient seafaring tales, especially in Norse and Celtic traditions, mermaids were fearsome beings. Their hypnotic voices lured sailors off course, crashing their ships against the rocks. Entire crews were said to vanish after hearing their call. These weren't gentle dreamers. These were predators of the deep. Early sirens weren't even half fish. In Greek myths, they were half woman, half bird, with razor-sharp claws, glowing eyes, and haunting songs that could pierce the soul. Over centuries, this terrifying figure merged with the image of the ocean maiden, creating the modern hybrid we know today. Are mermaids real? There's no scientific proof. No remains, no confirmed sightings, no biological way a half-human, half-fish could exist. But still, the legend feels real to a lot of people, and here's why. First, sailor sightings. Back in the days of long ocean voyages, sailors went weeks, even months without seeing land. Malnutrition, dehydration, and loneliness played tricks on the mind. And from a distance, sea creatures like manatees or dugongs could look strangely human, especially if you wanted to see something magical. Second, folklore from everywhere. From Greek sirens to Africa's mamiwata and Japan's ningyo, sea spirits appear in cultures worldwide. And third, unexplained disappearances. The ocean is full of strange sounds, lost ships, and dark mysteries. Before science explained things like rogue waves or underwater currents, people turned to myths, and mermaids were part of those explanations. And then there's modern media, from animated Disney's friendly Ariel princess to eerie horror films like The Siren, 2016, or The Lighthouse, 2019. Stories of mermaids still capture our imagination. Even fake documentaries have convinced some viewers that maybe, just maybe, mermaids are real and hiding in the deep. And here's the wild part. We've only explored about 5% of Earth's oceans. That means 95% is still untouched, unseen, and unknown. So, are mermaids real? Probably not in the way legends describe. But when it comes to the ocean, mystery is always real. Number 3, Cyclops. Have you ever heard of a creature so bizarre it had just one massive eye in the middle of its forehead? That's the Cyclops, a towering giant said to dwell in dark, echoing caves, feasting on animals. And sometimes, unlucky humans. It sounds like pure fantasy, but what if this myth actually began with something real? Thousands of years ago, ancient Greeks stumbled upon enormous skulls with a single gaping hole in the center. They didn't know what elephants were. Those creatures hadn't lived in their lands for ages, so to them, the hole looked like an eye socket. Giant skull, giant eye, giant monster. To their eyes, this was proof that one-eyed giants had once roamed the earth. But the truth? That hole wasn't for an eye. It was where a trunk once connected, a feature of prehistoric elephants, like the Dinotherium or woolly mammoths. These ancient bones were real, but the Cyclops was a misinterpretation. So while the Cyclops didn't come from pure imagination, it was born from a fossil mystery. Number 2, Bunyip. Deep in the rivers and swamps of Australia, ancient stories tell of a terrifying creature that lurks beneath the surface, the Bunyip. Described as part dog, part seal, and sometimes even part bird, the Bunyip was said to roar through the night and drag unsuspecting people into the water. Aboriginal legends warned of its power, and early settlers were terrified by strange cries echoing through the wetlands. But what was the Bunyip really? Some believe it was just fear of the unknown, swamp shadows, eerie sounds and the mysteries of deep water. But others think the legend might have been sparked by sightings of real animals, perhaps seals swimming far inland, or even the long-extinct Diprotodon, a giant wombat-like creature the size of a car, whose fossils have been found across Australia. To those who discovered its bones, the Bunyip wasn't a myth. It was a monster that once walked the land. So was the Bunyip just a story told to keep children away from dangerous waters? Or was it a fading memory of a real beast lost to time? Number 1. Elran Maja. So here's an interesting one. There's this modern sea legend, Elran Maja. Supposedly it lives deep beneath the Arctic Ocean. Yeah, not exactly your typical vacation spot. People who claim to have seen it describe a massive creature, over 2,000 feet long, with 6 glowing eyes and a mouth big enough to swallow a whale. Sounds wild, right? Almost too wild. But here's where it gets weird. During some Arctic research missions, scientists actually picked up strange underwater sounds. Deep, rhythmic, almost mechanical. Not your average cracking ice or shifting currents. Something different. And according to a few sources, a research camera even caught a massive shadow moving across the seafloor, big enough to block out all the light. But the footage? It was never released. Some people from that mission quit. One just disappeared. So, what do we make of that? Honestly, there's no solid proof that Elran Maja exists. But it's also true that most of our oceans, especially the Arctic under the ice, are still unexplored, and nature has a habit of surprising us. Could it just be a mix of sea myths, weird sounds, and some overactive imaginations? Sure. But part of what makes the ocean so fascinating is not knowing what's really down there. Elran Maja might just be a story, or maybe it might be the ocean's greatest secret. From immortal worms to forgotten human species, these creatures show us something incredible. Myths often begin with truth. Maybe the monsters of legend were never monsters at all, just mysteries we haven't solved yet. Which one do you think might be real? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time when we explore the next legend that might be hiding just out of sight. This is Luminarix.